Folks, welcome back to the Alamo Audible Podcast. It's your host, Jared Kalmus, joined as always by my co-host, Adrian Bermudez. Adrian, here it is, man. Our basketball season preview that literally nobody has asked for.
The highly anticipated 2023-2024 UTSA men's basketball preview episode.
I was talking to Adrian the other day, and I was like, hey, man, has anyone messaged you or texted you asking where our basketball season preview is at? He was like, no. He's like, surely people have asked you, right? I was like, nope, not a soul. That's sad. It's a sad state of affairs, man.
I don't think it's too often that I like Jared with one-word responses. But my initial response was no. And then I followed up. I was like, well, has anyone asked you?
It's crazy, man. Second biggest sport in college athletics, and really the main sport for UTSA athletics for like 20, 30 years or whatever. And there's zero hype, dude. It's so tough. And there's a lot to learn about this team. It's a whole new roster, only 3 returning roster spots from last year, only 2 contributors from last year return. So there's a lot of questions to be answered, but people very understandably are just not excited. Even with the move into the American Athletic Conference, was the drastically better basketball conference than Conference USA. Got some major basketball brands in there. Just no juice. It sucks. I hate it.
It's sad, man. It's sad, man. Whenever we were in school, it was kind of the end of what was a consistently competitive, good, dare I say,
maybe a stretch program. I don't know. But I do agree that when we were in school, every season I felt like UTSA could at least surprise and compete to go to the conference tournament, if nothing else. Always felt like they could win a game in the conference tournament. I was in the class. I got to see them play in the NCAA tournament, which is a very special moment. I got to storm the court 3 times while a student at UTSA for basketball.
Wow.
And I've said this often, but it really pains me that there are going to be multiple generations of diehard UTSA athletic students that do not get those opportunities that we had to watch a strong basketball program that can compete for games that really matter. And have those moments where they storm a court with a buzzer beater upset or something like that.
I remember setting up with the pep band there in the Convocation Center, which were like the drum line is on the baseline. It's ridiculous. You're like literally on the basketball court playing with these guys. And man, those games were tremendous. This would have been like 2011 Brooks Thompson, which you got to understand the front half of Brooks Thompson's career here was really, really good. We were winning records, all throughout our time in the Southland Conference under Brooks Thompson. And it wasn't until we moved up to the WAC and then the CUSA that you sort of saw the drop off. And I don't know if that's because competition got better,
I think so,
or if it's because UTSA got worse as a program. It's probably a little bit of both.
Yeah, it probably is a little bit of both. I don't think that UTSA ever was equipped to compete for recruits with those programs, facility, budget, all that kind of stuff, well behind the
basketball is still operating, in a Southland Conference sort of landscape.
I know. Like the upgrades they made are so minimal. Like they did a locker room revamp. I think they did some updates at the Convo so they can do ESPN Plus broadcast. And the broadcast for this week's game was awesome. I really enjoyed it. And the game wasn't great to watch. We'll talk about it more. But the broadcast was fun, and that's something. Good quality of that broadcast. So that's great because, I mean, dude, like for most of my time as a UTSA fan, even before football, you could not watch the basketball games. You could get like the Rowdy Zone or Conference USA TV stream, and it was so hit or miss, man. It was really rough. It was all stuff that you had to pay out of pocket for a completely separate subscription that you didn't get. You
had to listen to.
Right.
You had to listen to Uncle Andy on.
Yeah, they would just sync. They would sync the radio audio over like 1 or 2 camera broadcasts.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It was not a TV broadcast production.
No,
I don't know if people like really grasp the difference if you weren't there for those days. But yeah, it's come a long way. I was joking with some friends after this Western Illinois game that it was like surreal for me for the buzzer to go off leading into the second half. And they introduced like a cut up highlight package from the first half of the game where like both teams' logos are kind of faded in and out of transition, and they're showing, some dunks and some threes. And I was like, oh, damn, I feel like I'm watching a game on TV. Like, you don't have that experience for UTSA at home.
Man, that's epic.
Yeah,
man, that is cool. Epic. Well, Jared, I want fans, which there was a crowd of over 1,500 people in the Convocation Center for that win against Western Illinois, the game that you're talking about with a good broadcast. And I do want that generation of UTSA sports fan to experience high stakes, good competitive, fun, high entertainment value basketball in the Convocation Center. Watching a college basketball game is in person, such an intimate experience, so much more intimate than you could ever be at a football game in the Alamo Dome. And even more so intimate because you're in the Convocation Center.
Yeah, I was going to say, for all of the many negatives about the Convo, you can't deny that it is a pretty sweet, intimate environment. Like when that thing is packed, if there's 2,000 people there or whatever, and people are into the game, it's loud, it's raucous. So, if we could get crowds like that and we could compete and get the fan interest up, I think the warts of the Convo would get diminished a little bit, and it would be a pretty sweet, especially on the TV broadcast, it would be pretty cool.
I think back to, those Brooks Thompson years being in the Convocation Center with a really heavy crowd and everyone in sync on the cheers that they do on a 3-point shot.
A lifetime ago, man.
All the trolling that we would do to opposing teams' players at the free throw line or getting fouled out. And I mean, you had hundreds of thousand plus students all in synchronization with their cheering and screaming at guys, calling guys by their first name, and
I remember
players. I mean, you're on the floor pretty much.
I can't remember if this was Rowdy Q or like the predecessor to Rowdy Q, but I remember like meeting up with students in the Convocation Center the night before a home game, and we would be going through like opposing players' Facebook trying to find what their girlfriend's name was and making chants and signs about it.
It was amazing how often you could get a guy to turn it over and look at you by calling out his first name, by calling him by his first name.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was butter every time. And then, you had the good opposing players that would kind of ride along with it and kind of give you some grift back or whatever, smile at the crowd. I mean, it was just a really awesome place to see a basketball game. And so it was nice to see that crowd up in the Convocation Center, the historic Convo, for UTSA's overtime win, the first game of the season after the exhibition matchups against Trinity and McMurray. UTSA wins a 78-68 overtime matchup against Western Illinois in the Convocation Center for Steve Henson's 100th win as a collegiate basketball coach and his 100th win as UTSA's head basketball coach. This is the only place he's ever coached as a college coach. So 100 wins for the Roadrunners, and he deserves some commemoration.
For sure. Henson has had some great years here, right? With Keaton and Javon, and they never made that run where they had a deep run of the conference tournament, went to the dance or anything like that. But there were 2 years there where the games were fun to watch. I was tuning in every week, saw the student section. They would get featured on Sports Center from time to time, that kind of stuff. And Steve's a great guy. I still think that he's a good coach. This is a really hard job. It really is, man. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There's not been a ton of support from the administration. Football is going to eat, right? That's just how things are at UTSA. But it was really cool. I don't remember what journalist asked him the question after the game, the win over Western Illinois, but they mentioned, it's your 100th win as a head coach here at UTSA. Like, how do you feel about it? And he had a really long pause. Like he was really thinking about it, and he knows the situation, man. I was just like imagining like the complex emotions that he was feeling in that moment and what was going through his head.
It's hard.
Yeah, man, it's tough.
UTSA means a lot to him, man. He took on a really hard job. He came from Power 5 OU off the back of a Trae Young's dominance in a Final Four appearance. And he took on this UTSA job, and he really did do a great job inheriting what he got from Brooks Thompson and taking that to the next level. I'd say at least one level up.
I don't think I've argued with people about this. I don't think there's any denying that Steve Henson's best two teams were drastically better than anything that Brooks Thompson put on the court.
I would agree. Talent-wise and playing-wise. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were a really good team, man. You look at the 17-18 and the 18-19 seasons. 2018-2019, UTSA is tied for second in conference standings, man. And we were a threat. Mm-hmm. But this is the first place he's been a head coach at, man. And look, you talked about it. You mentioned it earlier. Basketball just hasn't gotten that support, that investment from UTSA administration. You see Olympic sports getting the support. You see, the Park West complex with track and field, with women's soccer. You see golf, TPCs, things that they've added there. Mm-hmm. You look at, of course, the race facility, the football team getting all the investment. Basketball and baseball have not had really any improvements whatsoever since the days of Southland Conference. They're in the same facilities, they're in the same situations, fighting the same, making the same recruiting pitch that they've had to make since they're in the Southland Conference. There's nothing to sell these guys. And
Adrian, there is a light in the convo, like an overhead big fluorescent bulb light. I don't know what they're called. And it makes a horrible buzzing noise. It's like, ugh. It's been that way for 10 years now. I swear. If you're in the convo and there's not a game going on, it's so loud. And now, if you've never noticed it before, now that I've said that, start watching the videos that are on social media and you'll hear that light bulb. And to me, that is a perfect symbol of how little care and investment there is to the convocation center and the basketball program as a whole. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, man. If I was AD, I would do the same thing, to be honest with you. But that's that's how things are, man. It's the scope that we got to view this program through. And it's unfortunate. Well,
look at how the progress of other sports has mirrored the investment that they've received.
Well, and I do think also that those other sports have been able to have more success with less resources than peers. But I think in basketball, it's harder because other schools, it's their whole deal. You're a basketball school, you don't have football, like you're putting everything and not just money and all that, but also like passion, man, investment, attention to detail, all that kind of stuff. It all adds up in different ways. It's also the experience that you get coming on your official visit, and you come to a game and there's 200 kids in the student section, body paint and all that. You don't get that experience when you come to UTSA, and they might not even bring you to a game, dude. They don't want you to see the convo.
No, no, absolutely not. And we remember the stories of football recruits. They wouldn't even be taken to campus sometimes. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side, Jared, we've seen baseball become successful despite the investment.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that quite the same for basketball. So there's an interesting counterpoint to that too.
Right. Yeah, I agree. It's not simple. It's not cut and dry. I'm not here to make excuses or, wave away anything. But
alas, Henson is 100 and 122. I'm sorry, 122 at UTSA. It's a 450 winning percentage, which I don't think is horrendous given what he's had to work with.
Yeah.
He hasn't had any seasons where he didn't win at least double-digit games. So
last year?
No, we won 10.
It's pretty low bar.
Last two seasons.
Yeah.
So, but I do think there was a one-digit win column in Brooks Thompson last year.
I think so.
Yeah, he was 9-21 and then 8-22, 5-27. Yeah, he had some brutal years. Mm-hmm. So now we look at the 2023 Roadrunners, we understand it's going to be a while before basketball gets the investment. However, due to a recent $500,000 gift, really $1 million gift for $500,000 specified for UTSA athletics.
Hold up, Adrian. Are you saying that investing in athletics will also turn into investment in academics as well? That's wild,
Jared. I think you're right. I think not even a week and a half after the student vote fee vote fails, the student fee vote fails, UTSA receives a $1 million gift designated half and half to academics, half to athletics.
Hey, real talk though, do you think they delayed the announcement of that donation until after the student vote?
To maybe have people get the amnesia, short-term memory, right? And forget about the student vote. Maybe so.
Oh, no, I meant the opposite. I like that students might vote no because they just got $1 million donation.
Oh, well, maybe there's two ways that maybe there's several benefits to making that announcement later. And alumni shut the hell up about it. Yeah, so I don't know, man.
Yeah,
maybe so. But it was said in the press release that the funds would go towards helping UTSA break ground on the new training facility for basketball and volleyball. So in due time, folks, it will come. In due time,
that facility should be pretty close to being funded because they have the bond money for that.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we'll get an announcement that they're going to break ground sometime soon. Once upon a time, someone told me this fall they were hoping to break ground. And I mean, it's November and we haven't even heard an announcement about it. So I feel like it's probably going to slip into 2024. But hopefully it happens soon. UTSA's got to keep the momentum going with the facility. Race 2.0 is going to be massive. Just having that dedicated practice spot is going to be huge. A real Division I experience for the guys when they're at practice and in the locker room and in training and rehab and all, all that good stuff. It goes a long way for sure. And the conditions they have to work with now is really rough, man.
Well, let's take a look at this team. UTSA wins in overtime 78-68 over the Western Illinois Leathernecks.
Were you familiar with the Leathernecks before Monday night?
No, Jared, I was not, but it is a fantastic mascot name. Oh my gosh.
I knew Western Illinois. I knew they were an FCS program in football, but I did not know they were the Leathernecks. That was news to me.
It's beefy. It's such a beefy name.
Well, it was an ugly basketball game, dude. Both teams shot, I think, under 40% from the field.
That's right.
A lot of rebounds. There were a lot of possessions on both sides where someone would get the ball on the block and they would go up with it and they would miss it. And the ball would get knocked around 2, 3, 4 times. And then finally, either the defense would grab the rebound or the ball would finally go in. But it was not a beautiful display of offense from either side.
Gritty.
And that goes both ways, to be fair, because UTSA's offense did not have a very good flow to it. Shots were not falling, but I do think they played really, really strong on defense. Like there was a lot of effort there. When you look at what Coach Henson brought in and his strategy working the portal is he definitely went for size and length. There's no doubt about it. There are more, 6'2" plus guards on this roster than I think UTSA has probably ever had. And that there had an effect on that in the game for sure. There was a lot of passing lanes being taken away. I think shots at the rim were more contested than usual. We'll see how that holds up, getting a conference play with much better opponents. But it was encouraging to see because the defense has been really, really bad under Steve Henson since he's gotten here.
I do think the play got better as the game went on too.
It did,
I think
for sure.
Offense started firing better. They found a little bit of a chemistry. 28 points in the first half to 37 points in the second half. And then they outscore Western 13-3 in overtime. They kind of found a rhythm a little bit there. UTSA shoots 36% from the field to Western Illinois' 32%. UTSA 26% from the three-point line. But really, it's the work that we do at the free throw line that is the ultimate separation. UTSA 25 points from the line to Western's only 14. That's a 74% free throw shooting from the Birds. We got out rebounded but we got to the line enough to make enough of a separation to not only send this game in overtime, but win it in overtime.
UTSA got out rebounded, but I did think the effort was there on the boards. I mean, guys were crashing, they were boxing out, they were doing what they need to do. So I'm not super concerned about the rebounding, I guess, from an effort perspective. The size is there for the most part. So I was okay with the rebounding aspect of the game.
So a couple names, 18 points from Christian Tucker, Jr. You also had 15 points from Trey Edmonds. You had 12 points from Carlton Lingard, Jr., and then Dre Fuller as well as Isaiah Wyatt, both with 10 points each. That's 5 Roadrunners in double-digit scoring, Jared. So, decent distribution there.
Yep. Yeah, and Wyatt actually came off the bench. Adante, I don't know if it's Holloman or Holoman, but he was the other starter. He got more minutes down the stretch as well when Christian Tucker went down. I think Tucker probably sprained his ankle. We'll see if he plays on Friday or not. So I think that's going to be the key to success for this team. I don't think they have a 25 point per game guy on this roster right now. They're going to have to share the distribution. But one thing that was encouraging for me, and I guess I didn't, some of you for not realizing it, but Carlton Lingard's got some offensive game to him. He had those 12 points, but for a 7-footer, he can move around. He can shoot the three. He was 2 of 5 from 3. So, obviously you'd like to convert on more of those, but being able to stretch it out as a 7-footer and shoot from the 3-point line is always a nice addition to a team. And he just looks more smooth with his back to the basket than I anticipated to see. So that's nice.
So Lingard transferred over from Kansas State.
Yep.
He was here last year, but he was ineligible after transferring.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is his first time getting on the floor with the UTSA, but a 7-foot center that's, got a little bit of a stroke there. That's a little bit multi-dimensional. Yeah, that's something to really be excited about, I think.
Yeah, he's not the 7-footer that we've been asking for. A guy that can just really stand to the bottom of that zone and prevent anyone from, crashing in for a layup, right? That's not really his game. He plays, I think, closer to like a Jacob Germany kind of center.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's still length. It's still, reduces the passing lanes for the opposing team to having that wingspan out there. Seems like a good player. I don't know if he's going to be the savior of this program, like some people were hoping, but he's a good player for sure. Better than I expected, I'll say.
Yep. I think so. And then, it looks like Christian Tucker is going to sort of be the floor general.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely the on-floor and emotional leader of this team. There's no doubt.
He's put the time in, and so he kind of earned that now in his junior campaign. So he played in most games as a freshman, 25 games as a freshman, 30 games as a sophomore. So over the last 2 years, he's done a good job, and he's slowly started to get more and more starts. But I think now, just by way of necessity, he's going to be the offensive captain.
Yeah,
not every night.
Not an efficient night from the floor, but you look at his overall stat line, pretty solid. He got to the line 15 times, converted on 12 of those. He had 3 rebounds, 8 assists, only 1 turnover and 2 steals, 18 points.
Yeah.
We'll take that.
Yeah, I like that 8 assist number big time. He got 2 steals for us as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really nice. That's really good stuff. There's a couple of guys here that can certainly be, regular double-double contributors. Christian Tucker on the assist side. Trey Edmonds could do it between the boards. And I think so can Dre Fuller and maybe Isaiah Wyatt as well, with more minutes behind him. So I think you've definitely got enough potential for output here to be more competitive than we saw last season.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk a little bit more about these guys.
I guess we got
Wyatt.
We got to mention the eligibility stuff on this roster as well. Notably, Jordan Ivy Curry made his return to UTSA. It's his second transfer. He left UTSA to go to Pacific, came back. NCAA was pretty clear that they were not going to prove, instant eligibility for double transfers in the offseason. Jordan Ivy Curry has not been granted a waiver to play this year for UTSA. Similar story for Juan Reyna. He transferred from Alabama State to Campbell to UTSA. He does not have a waiver. San Antonio kid. He probably has a better chance of getting one.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. But both of those guys are unable to contribute this year, which is tough because they're both juniors and have played quite a bit of Division I basketball. Both guys with some offensive game, some scoring ability that this team clearly needs right now. So it's gonna be tough. I'm not sure about the status of Justin Thomas. So he's a guy who he played at Milwaukee, pretty strong program up there, and started some as a freshman. Did not play in this game against Western Illinois. I'm not sure if he was active in those exhibitions as well. But yeah, so three guys that can score the basketball that probably are not available to this team right now, which really hurts. really, really hurts.
Yeah, it's tough. And Jordan Ivy Curry is probably the floor general over Christian Tucker. Yeah, but and that's a guy that was Jordan Ivy Curry, talking to Jordan Ivy Curry, he was a guy that was 2020 CUSA all freshman team. You know, it was a COVID year, but guy got his accolades.
Mm-hmm.
The guy can play some offense. Yeah, I think you'd see him as a floor general otherwise if he was able to be eligible. And Juan Reyna, San Antonio kid, you want to see that. Love to see that on the floor.
I also checked, and I did confirm that Justin Thomas did not play in either exhibition. So not sure what's going on with him, but I don't think we can expect to see him on the floor anytime soon.
Brutal. Gosh, that's just brutal.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll stay on the guys that did contribute. We talked a little bit about Christian Tucker. We talked a little bit about Carlton Lingard. How about Dre Fuller, Isaiah Wyatt, and Trey Edmonds? Start with Dre Fuller.
Man, Adrian, I don't know these guys, dude. I'm gonna be honest with you.
That's
I really
okay.
don't know.
Just a little bit of background information. So Dre Fuller is a graduate student. He played 3 years at UCF.
Mm-hmm.
27 starts or 6-7 games. So good experience coming over at a better school.
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah Wyatt, he was at a Division II school prior to coming to UTSA. That's a redshirt junior. Shadron State up in Nebraska, where he was a all-conference player out there in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference.
Isaiah's on his 4th school. He started at McLennan. He went to Southwest Christian Community College, Shadron State, now at UTSA.
Wow. Sheesh.
It's nuts,
that's
man.
a lot. That's a lot. Goodness gracious.
I did hear Coach Henson say that like it was a strategic thing for him to go get guys that have already transferred because they can't transfer out again. And can't blame him. I get it.
And you're getting a lot of guys that are upperclassmen kind of just putting the pieces together, a little pickup game style.
Mm-hmm.
Trey Edmonds from Utah Tech, another junior. He's listed as a forward/center, so I assume he's playing that stretch 4 position.
He's a physical guy. I've been impressed with him so far. I think that's probably one of the better finds from Henson in this portal class.
And that's all Henson's really been able to do is work that portal, you know, and you talk about earlier, you kind of know the writing's on the wall. All you can do is just kind of get some guys that can maybe compete over this next year, but
it's funny because we criticized him last season for not using the portal. And then now he's like, oh, you want portal? We're going portal, baby. We're going portal.
Strictly portal and portal only.
Maybe we can find a delicate balance there.
Well, let's flip over to the schedule.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't really have much on the other guys on the roster, to be honest with you. Hopefully we'll get to know these guys better throughout the year. It's just when there's so many new players coming in at once, man, it's really, really hard to know much about these guys and their skill sets and their backgrounds and abilities and all of that. So let's talk about the roster. So next up is a road game at Minnesota on Friday. And this is interesting because I am 99% confident this is UTSA's first time to appear exclusively on a Peacock stream.
Oh,
that's the NBC
exciting
streaming app. I'm in a crowdsource.
Yeah, I enjoy Peacock. Peacock
yeah, I've heard it's a good service, right? I just don't really, I don't think I watch a lot of the content that they put on Peacock.
There's a lot of sitcoms on there.
Yeah, not really my speed. More of an HBO kind of guy.
Yeah.
Oh, AJ's like, this damn hipster.
No love for Everybody Loves Raymond, dog. No love for Raymond.
That's not my cup of tea. Dude, Everybody Loves Raymond in Big Ten football. Catch the fever, baby. Cough over your hard-earned cash. Let's go. But no, jokes aside, I do want to crowdsource a spreadsheet of like all the different streaming services UTSA has ever appeared on for any sport. That would be a wild document to review.
I think we can say without a doubt that Peacock stream, ESPN Plus stream, much better than going to CUSA.tv to stream.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
Roadrunners basketball.
No doubt.
Way better.
There's an app on your smart TV to watch the game. You got to put your credit card in, but it's easily accessible.
It's huge. It's a massive step up for UTSA basketball watchability.
I did hear from Dan Nerdahl, host around the Bird Bath, that Minnesota's got a really cool and unique basketball arena.
Oh, wow.
I will not be paying Peacock to watch this game, but if you have an illegal stream, hit me up.
I'll send it to you. I'll link you up, dog.
Okay.
I'll send you the link.
Minnesota's a pretty good program, though. They're 110 in the Ken Palm rating. I don't know where that stands, like within the Big Ten. But any Big Ten program is going to be really, really solid. So big test for this team. They struggled offensively against Western Illinois, as we discussed. So we'll see if they can find a 3-point stroke and make that a competitive game. It would be great to see them keep it within 10 points, I'd say.
In Minneapolis. Yep. That's this Friday.
Yep.
Then,
oh, man. If someone signs up for a Peacock sub to watch UTSA play Minnesota, that's UTSA basketball sicko of the year. I've got to shake your hand. If you already have Peacock and you watch it, that's great. Please tweet it, keep us updated. But if you sign up for Peacock just to watch this game, you're one sick puppy.
I've got a little bit of a extra incentive with the sitcom selection. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Also the sitcoms are all available for free. I don't think you can watch live for free. But sitcoms,
yeah, I see what you mean.
You get movies and shows on Peacock, but they'll put commercials in there, right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Which, if you're watching a live stream, I think you might have to pay for it for live sports. But you're going to get commercials anyways.
Yeah.
So,
that's how it is. Nothing about it.
It's a road trip, Jared. After Minneapolis, we go to Beaumont, Texas to play Lamar, San Marcos, Texas to play Texas State, and then Houston, Texas to play Houston Christian University Huskies. Alamo Audible's second favorite basketball team in the country.
Yeah, if you think the combo is bad, take a trip over to Fondren and see what they're dealing with over there at Houston Christian, brother.
It's rough. But we've long been Husky supporters across all their athletics programs here at Alamo Audible.
If we're judging UTSA as if they're an American Athletic Conference basketball program, to go on the road to Lamar, Texas State, Houston Christian 3 games in a row is unacceptable. And I'm not looping Texas State in with those other programs, man. But at this level, they should be getting bye games and not going and play in these like sub 300 rated programs on the road.
You have one home game out of 5 to start off your first regular season leg.
Yeah.
That's brutal. That's brutal. It's disrespect.
On the flip side, good chance for wins here. Lamar, super terrible. Houston Christian's even worse. I just checked. Houston Christian is bottom 3 program in all of Division I per Ken Palm.
Yikes.
Well, Incarnate Word down there at the bottom. Are they in the schedule? Yeah.
Yeah, so we host the Roadrunner Classic whenever we return from that road trip across Texas. And we've got the Roadrunner Classic the weekend of November 24th through the 26th. That's going to be the weekend right after Thanksgiving. So that Friday the 24th at 3 p.m. is going to be a tip-off 30 minutes after kickoff in New Orleans as UTSA football plays Tulane to hopefully see who's going to the conference championship game.
Mm-hmm.
We have Jacksonville State Friday, UIW on Saturday in the Roadrunner Classic, the Roadrunner Cardinal Classic. Both games at the at the Combo Center. Both games on ESPN Plus.
Looks like Jacksonville State's respectable. They're right where you'd expect a Conference USA program to be. They're 206 in Ken Palm.
Coming out of the
UTSA is 234. So with home court advantage,
oof.
UTSA might be a slight favor. Obviously, we'll see how these next few games play out for both programs. But I mean, UTSA is going to be favored in a pretty good number of these games on the schedule to start off with.
Yeah, they're definitely scheduled it to be more favorable. I mean, you can get a win over Lamar, a win over Houston Christian. UTSA could start the season off 3-2, assuming Texas State and Minnesota probably give us a harder time. Then you got the Roadrunner Classic. You should get both of those games. As an AAC school, you should get both those games. And then after the Roadrunner Classic, you got the other bit of out of conference scheduling as we get into December.
You got the big Lamar return game.
Huge. And then you've got Arkansas Fort Smith in a back-to-back home stand at the Alamo Dome.
Are they D1?
That's a good question, Jared.
I don't think they are. I think they're D2.
Have to be.
I'm Googling. Forgive my mechanical keyboard that you can probably hear. Let's see. They're in the Lone Star Conference. They are Division 2.
The Little Rock Trojans, I believe, are Division 2 as well. No, they're Division 1.
No, I think they're D1. Yeah, they were in the Sun Belt for a while.
Yeah, they were in the Sun Belt. Yeah, they were Sun Belt for a while.
They got kicked out.
Yeah,
they're now in the
Ohio Valley.
Ohio Valley, yeah.
That's right. So Arkansas Fort Smith, then Little Rock Trojans, and then you play Oregon State in Oregon, Beavers. We actually played them before. Played them in the Toyota Center once upon a time. And then, Jared, I guess what would be the very first conference matchup against Army West Point in the Convo on Thursday, December 21st.
Well, a few things. Before that Oregon State game, there's a realistic chance that UTSA could be 9-1.
Stop it.
You're going to have to win some games. So you're maybe a 1-point favorite, a 1-point underdog. But if you look at how weak the schedule is, that's not outside the realm of possibility.
You're assuming that one loss is Minnesota, right?
Yeah. I don't see any way they beat Minnesota. But they could play a perfect game, beat Texas State, right? They could beat Jacksonville State. They got home court. There's a chance. I'm not saying that it would be crazy impressive per se, because these are really, really, really bad teams. These are the worst teams in the country. But it's something.
Well, they've scheduled that preseason out of conference slate pretty favorably, strategically.
Yeah.
But that first conference matchup, Army West Point.
Army's not going to be in the conference for the season.
Oh, okay.
They're a football. They're actually football only, so they're never going to be
football only starting next year. You're right.
It's cool they're on the schedule though. I support it. USAA should show up for that game.
I'm getting my service academies mixed up here. You got Prairie View A&M to finish off 2023.
I know Texas season. Texas Southern is usually pretty good.
Yeah, Texas Southern and Prairie View, I think, are both.
Prairie View not good.
Not good? No.
336.
What's that? 336 on the Ken Palm.
Josh Farmer actually ended up at Texas Southern, former Roadrunner.
I remember Farmer.
Yep. Could have been a good one for us. And then
the conference schedule starts.
Yeah. In the conference play, you go to a UAB team that's going to compete to win this conference. I think they're always really good.
Wow.
Rice has had their ups and downs, I guess. But they might be gettable. I don't know. They're actually ranked much higher in Ken Palm than I would have guessed. They're 141. Need my words already. You go play Memphis at FedEx. They're 34 in the country. Pretty good chance to be an at-large bid. Memphis is so confident in themselves that they said their out of conference is their real season because they're going to cakewalk through the AAC.
Damn, son.
UTSA has a chance to do the funniest thing imaginable and beat Memphis. That would be something.
Oh, man.
The meltdown would be juicy.
Slow it down.
Man, I'm looking through these conference opponents. I'm like, who can we beat? We can beat Tulsa. FAU went to the Final Four. That's out. Ron Hunter's the coach of Tulane. You got to pick them.
It just seems like it's going to be brutal from the jump, man.
I mean, imagine that scenario I threw out there where UTSA starts 9-1. They go play Oregon State. That's going to be a loss. And then just get slaughtered in conference play, man. The whiplash is going to be crazy.
UAB, Rice, and Memphis is a hell of a slate. And that Rice game is going to be in Houston. The Memphis game is in Memphis.
Yeah.
That's going to be brutal. Penny Hardaway, so the head coach over in Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
Rice, been to a basketball game there. Enjoy going to the Tudor Fieldhouse.
I do as well.
To watch the Rice Owls, yeah.
I'm sure I will be in the building for that one. You do have the Jacob Germany reunion game February 7th at Wichita State. So that's a cool storyline. But there are only 3 guys left on the roster that have met Jacob. So I don't really know what the juice is there. I was thinking East Carolina's bad at basketball. They're gettable. I looked them up. They're 133 in Ken Palm. Jeez, yeah, man.
All of these basketball programs are pretty damn good. Until you get to Tulsa. Tulsa wasn't very good in the AAC last year. They're 5-25 last season. Even USF, though. USF went 14-18. And I'm not sure UTSA could hang with the USF. But those are going to be those toss-up games. You know, you look at a USF and ECU. Those are going to be the conference games that,
you know.
Yeah, Tulsa. Those are going to be the conference games that you hope UTSA to win to sort of put themselves in the middle of the conference pack. But they're going to be a moonshot away from those top teams.
You got to keep in mind these legacy American athletic programs, like even if their records are bad and, you know, their fan base and their media will tell you that they're bad, they're comparing themselves to other American athletic programs. And they've recruited into the American Athletic Conference for many years, where they've been playing against Cincinnati and Houston and all these schools that make these Sweet 16 runs. It's going to be rough, man. The talent difference is going to be crazy. We're going to have Division II transfers going up against guys that, you know, maybe got an offer from Duke and, you know, Duke didn't take them. You know, it's just a whole new ball game, man.
It's going to be a big separation, man. Look, SMU was 10-22 last season, 5-13 in the AAC. They are right now beating the same Western Illinois Leathernecks team that UTSA beat by 10 points in overtime. They're up 59-28 in the second half against that same exact team.
And SMU had a really bad first game. I can't remember what the details were on that. Oh, they played Southwestern Assemblies of God, and it was like a 10-point game at halftime or something like that.
Oh, geez.
So it's not like SMU is a world beater.
No, not at all.
I think it might be easy to look at football and be like, oh, like Charlotte's really bad. They've won some games in the American. But you got to keep in mind, there's like 350 schools in Division I basketball. UTSA's, they're like a whole third of those schools away from the rest of this American Athletic Conference, right? So if you're going to extrapolate that to football, it would be like Charlotte was going and playing in the SEC every week. You know, like it's going to be really brutal, man.
It's going to be rough.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long season, man.
I just hope we rack up these wins in the early going.
I think 9-1 is a stretch.
Of course.
I think finishing over 500 is definitely doable and probably should be an expectation.
I think expectation. Yeah.
You finish 6-4, 7-3. But in conference, oh geez, Jared.
The thing I hate the most
I don't know.
We hurt these programs' strength of schedule even when they beat us. And it hurts the conference ability to go get that second, third bid, which takes money out of UTSA's pockets too. It's the crazy part.
UTSA was voted last in the preseason coaches poll.
They were
finished last in this
unanimously
conference.
last. They only got last place votes.
Time.
Yeah.
Only got last place votes. Only got last place votes.
That can't happen that often, man. Even for a really bad team. Usually there's one other team that somebody might make an argument would be worse. But for every single voter to pick the same team last is wild.
Every single voter picked UTSA to finish last. 14 out of 14 to finish 14th. Really brutal, man. When I look at the conference slate, we've got, was there 20 conference games? I mean, UTSA can maybe win 4. 18 conference games.
I think
Tulsa, South Florida.
If they win 4, I'll be surprised. Pleasantly surprised.
You get Tulsa twice. You get South Florida twice. You get ECU once. Those are the 5 games that are going to be winnable for this team.
Yeah, if they win 4, I'll be very pleasantly surprised.
Well, brace yourselves, everybody.
Yep.
If you listen to this episode, kudos to you.
If you made it, I'm going to put a call for help out. If you made it through this whole episode and you want to cover the basketball program for Alma Audible, please hit us up. We really, really need some help. I was just whining to Adrian the other day. Like, I can't wait for the day UTSA's basketball program is worthy of being in the conference that we're in. We're on TV competing with a packed convo or other arena. And we have someone as dedicated to covering UTSA basketball as Dan is to covering UTSA baseball. It's going to be a great day for us, a great day for Alma Audible, a great day for you guys. I believe in that future.
Oh, baby.
It might be a long ways away, but I believe in it. Is that a good place to end it, Adrian? Anything else?
Always objective, but always optimistic and always hopeful. Here
it's just how long is the timeline?
That's it, baby. That's it. UTSA will.
We never fail. We only delay our success, Adrian.
God damn, that's beautiful.
I think I see a tear in your eye.
A little bit of one.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate y'all for subscribing, for checking us out. We'll cover basketball as much as we can stomach to, probably, to be honest with you. With the football continuing to play late into December and even January, and you got recruiting and all of that. Baseball starts up in February. There's more demand for baseball coverage than there is for basketball, but we'll play it out, man. We'll give the team the respect that they play themselves into deserving, I guess is maybe the way to put it.
Yeah, definitely so.
But if you do want to help out with coverage, please let us know. We will pay you. Let's do this.
Yes.
All right, Adrian, thank you for suffering through this with me. I know it's not easy.